Many people refer to Budapest as one of the most beautiful capitals of Europe. Like the neighboring Vienna and Bratislava, the city lies on the banks of the river Danube. Due to its geographical position, the city is very colorful. It emerged in a place where different types of landscapes meet: the hills and slopes of Transdanubia and the flat surface of the Great Plains. Its 2,000 years of history, however, made the city even more colorful and attractive, leaving its marks on the face of present-day Budapest. The quiet and noble Buda, built on the hills of the west bank of the river, the pleasant old Buda, and the lively Pest stretching on the lowlands of the east bank were united in 1837. The first people to settle here were the ancient Celts, who called their town Ac Inc, meaning abundant in water. It's the origin of the name Aquincum, given by the Romans to the capital of Pannonia, following its conquest in the 1st century AD. The city had 100,000 inhabitants at that time. The memories of that ancient age can still be seen, mainly in present-day Old Buda. The first princes of the conquering Hungarian tribes settled here in the 9th century. Following the destruction caused by the Tartars, Bela IV, the founder of medieval Buda, created a town surrounded by walls and fortified by a tower. During the reign of King Matthias Corvinus, it was the intellectual center of Europe, then became a Turkish town in the 16th and 17th centuries under the rule of the sultans. The Turkish baths today are memories of that era. The Baroque monuments of the city were built mainly in the 18th century. Budapest started to grow into a big city during the Reform era in the 19th century, when the current structure of the city was constructed with its streets and gorgeous buildings admired by so many people. Following the Union in 1837, it was the 1000th anniversary of the Hungarian conquest in 1896 that caused a new boom in the development. That was the time when Heroes Square and Városliget Castle were built. The city, reconstructed from its ruins after the destruction of the Second World War, is continuously developing, renewing, changing, even growing, but still cherishes its memories. In the vicinity of the present Elizabeth Bridge, there's always been a crossing point on the river Danube, around which the historical heart of the city was founded. One of the most beautiful promenades of the capital is the Danube Promenade, where markets with traditional arts and crafts often take place. From aboard the pleasure boats floating in the Danube, we pass numerous pleasant sights. The bridges, Gellert Hill. the Parliament, and the castle. The building of Vigado is still the home of concerts and other cultural events. Great composers like Liszt, Wagner, Johann Strauss, and Bartók used to play here. Vörösmarty Square is the heart of the pulsating and bustling inner city. One of the end stations of the so-called small underground is located here. When the weather's nice, the terrace of the famous Gerbeaud confectionery offers a delightful view of the city's whirling life. The statue of the great Hungarian poet Vörösmarty, after whom the square was named, stands in the center. The most elegant and expensive promenade of the city, the Váci Street, starts from here. The decorative pavement of the street incorporates the remains of the old town walls. Among the terraces of confectionaries and cafes and fashion boutiques, traditional crafts and gift shops offer their products. The 100-year-old restaurant, the Baroque Servita Church, and the column of Mary in front of it are worth mentioning here. The giant building of the town hall was intended to be barracks for war invalids and was built at the same time as the Baroque churches and houses of the city center. In the magnificent building of the Parisian courtyard, pleasant passages connect Petőfi Sándor Street with Kidjo Street and Harish Lane. On the ramps of the Elizabeth Bridge, the Clotilde palaces stand as guards. Built at the turn of the century in Baroque eclectic style, the buildings are now home to shops and offices, a casino, and an exhibition hall. The Fountain of the Nereids was the first public fountain of the city ornamented with a statue. A remarkable fact about the church standing on Ferenciek Square is that there's a plaque commemorating the hero of the Great Flood of 1838, Baron Veselényi, the boatman of the flood. Looking at the mark of the water level, it becomes clear why more than half of the 4,200 buildings of Budapest were destroyed in the flood. The recently renovated Danube Palace stands at the beginning of Váci Street, leading to the Great Market Hall. The attractive Great Market Hall with its brick facade and glazed tile roof is situated at the foot of the Liberty Bridge, covering an area of 10,000 square meters. It proves a very interesting site for every tourist with its lively crowd of buyers and sellers and huge assortment of goods. The Hungarian National Museum is the first and largest public collection of the country. It was established by Count Ferenc Széchenyi in 1802. The building itself is a masterpiece of Mihály Polocz, rightly deserving its fame. The history of Hungary, the coronation jewels, and exhibitions of the Museum of Natural Science are shown here in the Classicist-style palace with a triangular facade ornamented by 8 columns. Its garden is a very pleasant place to relax, with the statues of scientists and poets. Europe's largest functioning synagogue stands at the corner of the Inner Ring and Dohány Street, where a collection of Jewish history and religion is exhibited. The Byzantine Moorish-style romantic building served as the gate of the Pest ghetto with its sad memories, which are commemorated by a monument standing in the courtyard. The Danubius Fountain, built on Elizabeth Square, is decorated by sculptures symbolizing the rivers of Hungary. St. Stephen's Cathedral is the largest church of the capital. It's the monumental work of József Hild and Miklós Ibl, and was consecrated in 1905. The majestic building of the former palace of the Stock Exchange now serves as the headquarters of the Hungarian television. The permanently burning Batthyány Eternal Flame commemorates Hungary's first prime minister who was executed here. One of the most beautiful and biggest squares of Budapest is Kossuth Lajos Square. It covers an area of 65,000 square meters, and the Parliament occupies its side overlooking the Danube. It's the most famous and grandiose building of the country with amazing measurements. It is 268 meters long and 96 meters high. The Parliament held its first session here in the year of the millennium. The palace, resembling the Parliament in London, was built according to the plans of Imre Steindl in eclectic style. Looking at it in detail, elements of Neo-Gothic, Baroque, and Renaissance styles are recognizable. Tourists are allowed to visit in groups, accompanied by a guide. The statue of Attila József portrays the great poet sitting on the stairs of the wharf of the Danube. The impressive building of Newgate railway station was built by the Eiffel Company from Paris, on the site of the original watchman's house from where the first train from Pest to Vats departed in 1846. The busiest main road of Budapest is the Nagykörút, the large ring road, with its length of 4 kilometers, starting at one bank of the Danube and circling around the city to make a ring to the other bank. It's lined by shops, restaurants, and cafes on both sides. The Vígszínház is one of the 3 theaters on the Nagykörút. With its beautiful dome, the neo-Baroque building is the work of Viennese architects from the turn of the century. One of the most beautiful public buildings of Hungary, the Palace of the State Opera House on Andrássy Avenue, is the magnificent work of Miklós Ybl. The edges of the building's middle part are decorated by muses, while the main bracket of the facade holds the sculptures of 16 opera composers. On the sides of the driveway with arcades, the memorials of 2 great composers, Ferenc Erkel and Ferenc Liszt, can be seen. The small Millennium Underground of pastimes? And the way it looks today. Andrássy Avenue ends with dignity in Heroes Square. Both sites were built at the same time when the Millennium Monument was erected. The magnificent group of statues standing in the square is in fact one of the city's symbols. The Art Gallery and the Museum of Fine Arts stand on opposite sides of Heroes Square. The Museum of Fine Arts exhibits a very significant collection of ancient Egyptian and Greek finds. From the 13th to the 18th century, the old collection of sculptures consists of several famous European works of art. In its picture gallery, the works of Goya, El Greco, Raphael, Titian, Rembrandt, Cézanne, Gauguin, and Monet are exhibited, among many others. Archangel Gabriel lifts his arms as if protecting Prince Arpad and the mounted chieftains of the conquering Hungarian tribes. The sculptures of Hungarian sovereigns are placed between the columns of the semicircular colonnades. Városliget, the beautiful city park, was planned by a French gardener on the site of King Matthias Game Reserve. The small lake was made for the Millennium exhibition and is suitable for rowing in summer. In the winter, however, it's transformed into an ice rink. Városliget Castle, also built for the Millennium exhibition, was first made of wood. Its role was to show each architectural style of Hungary at that time by showing the details of existing buildings with great accuracy. Due to its great success, the castle was rebuilt from stone after the exhibition. There's a chapel resembling the church of Jak in the castle. The statue Anonymous portrays the unnamed clerk of Hungarian King Béla III, the same clerk who wrote the Chronicle of Hungary around 1200. The Museum of Agriculture was placed in the Baroque wing of the castle. Széchenyi Bath is one of Europe's biggest spa baths and swimming pools. Its magnificent building was constructed in 1913. The spa water is 77 degrees Celsius and is effective in healing rheumatism, arthritis, and problems of the motor system. The treatments here are supplemented by massage, sauna, weight bath, and other therapies. The 3 open-air swimming pools with terraces for sunbathers are perfect for whiling away pleasant idle hours. The novelty of the bath is a special pool with sparkling water, artificial waves, and vertical massage. One of the most famous Hungarian restaurants, the more than 100-year-old Gundel, is located only a few steps away from the gate of the zoo. There are 3,500 different animals with 1,500 species of plants in the Zoological and Botanical Garden of Budapest on an area of 16 acres. Part of it was designed by Károly Kós. With the renovation of the Palm House, famous throughout Europe, the reconstruction of the garden is about to come to an end. From the beginning of the 1800s, Városliget has operated as a fairground with sideshows, amusement park, and various stands, attracting tens of thousands of visitors. Now the public is entertained by acrobats in the Great Circus of Budapest. The Ferris wheel, the switchback railway, and the roller coaster were moved to the present-day fairground next to the zoo. The Museum of Transport is also located in Városliget. The city's old vehicles of public transport, such as the horse tram and omnibus, together with other historical railway and motoring curiosities, are exhibited here. Zuglo is one of Budapest's beautiful green belts. Stefania Street, that was sung in a popular song, is famous with the palace of the cultural house of the Hungarian army. One of the masterpieces of secessionist architecture is the building of the Geological Institute. Népstadion, the large stadium, and many other sports establishments are situated here. Keleti, or East Railway Station, with its surface area of 7,500 square meters, is the largest railway station of Budapest. It was built at the turn of the century and has become a significant element of the city's look. The Danube River, with its depth of 3 to 9 meters and width of 285 to 640 meters, crosses the heart of Budapest. There are 7 highway bridges and 1 railway bridge over the river, all within the borders of the city. Liberty Bridge, connecting the Fővám and Gellért squares, is a spectacular monument. Originally, it was named after Franz Joseph and was opened in his presence in the year 1896. The splendid Elizabeth Bridge, originally built in the style of the Liberty Bridge but with a chain structure, was destroyed in the Second World War. The new cable bridge in modern style was finished in 1964 on the same site. Our first permanent bridge over the Danube is the Chain Bridge, the most beautiful of all. Built on Ferenc Széchenyi's initiative, the construction was led by Adam Clark, according to the plans of English engineers. The iron chains on which the bridge is suspended are held by two classicist-style pillars, which look like triumph arches. The bridge is a symbol of the city and is featured in numerous anecdotes. Margaret Bridge is the proud work of French engineers and architects. The opening of the road connecting the bridge with the southern edge of Margaret Island was a great event of its era. The 2,500-meter-long Margaret Island is actually a park, full of sites spreading over an area of 96 acres. Under the island's green leafy boughs, promenades, monuments, restaurants, baths, and sports establishments are concealed. In the Middle Ages, it was called the Island of the Rabbits. Several religious orders built their monasteries here, and some of their ruins can still be seen today. The grave of St. Margaret, after whom the island was named, lies between the ruins of the Dominican Church and the nunnery. By the middle of the 19th century, the island was transformed into an English park. The medicinal water brought to the surface in 1867 made the creation of bathing facilities possible. A small Japanese garden with a lake, waterfalls, and rock garden are to be found at the foot of the two grand hotels near the Arpad Bridge to round out the other end of the island. The reproduction of the musical well of Margitsziget is a lovely sight. At the foot of the 52-meter-high water tower, there's an open-air theater with a seating capacity of 3,500. Although it's not allowed to drive into the island, there are several other means of transport available for visitors. There are 4 swimming pools of different water temperature and purpose in the Palatinus bath, stretching a long way on the island. Its sulfurous hydrogen-carbonated spa water of 38 degrees Celsius is suitable for treating diseases of the motor system. The red brick building of the swimming pool was built according to the plans of Alfred Hajós, the Hungarian champion swimmer of the first Olympics in Athens. The stadium of the athletic center is in the neighborhood of the pool. Arpad Bridge is situated on the northern end of the island. There was a stone bridge here even in the Roman era of Aquincum. Construction on the present one started in 1939. However, it was open to the public only after the Second World War. The favorite holiday resort of Budapest is the Roman beach in Old Buda, where water sports facilities, snack bars, guest houses, boat houses, campsites, and restaurants can be found. It's primarily a paradise for cyclists and rowers. But also a good place for sunbathers and those who like to drink a pint of beer in the shade. The town hall and the fisherman's garden on the main square preserved a little bit of the former Old Buda atmosphere, described in the writings of Crudi and painted by Ernő Zorad in his watercolors. The Baroque residence of the Zichy family, who were the landlords of Old Buda in the 18th century, is a cultural center today. The silk winder, characteristic of its oval ground plan, is regarded as one of the oldest factories of the country. The amphitheater in Nagyszombat Street was opened in 1940. Its arena is bigger than that of the Colosseum in Rome. There were once military parades, coach races, and gladiator fights held here. As proof of the advanced water culture of the Romans, the stage of the arena could be flooded for water battles with the help of a pipeline system. Kistzell was named after the Austrian pilgrimage site Margitsziget because the copy of its famous devotional sculpture was placed in a chapel here. Today, in the Museum of Kistzell, the modern exhibition of the Budapest Historical Museum can be seen. It's in the vicinity of Kolosi Square, where the renovation of Old Buda is the most striking. It's very popular among Budapest citizens and tourists visiting here to take a day trip to Hűvösvölgy. The old traffic junction that has regained its original beauty serves as a starting point for those who wish to explore the Buda Hills. The Austrian carriages of the Cogwheel Railway, having had their trial run in the Alps, take us to Széchenyi Hill, where the favorite of kids and grown-ups, the Children's Railway, awaits travelers. The chairs of the Libagő lift us up to the lookout tower of János Hill, offering a splendid panorama throughout the trip. We can enjoy the view of the Buda Hills and Rózsa Dome, the Rose Hill, on our way down. One of the most magnificent sights of Budapest is Buda Castle, with its many monuments, which is internationally unique and a part of World Heritage. The castle hill rises 60 meters above the banks of the Danube, providing a marvelous view either of the river and Vérmező or Gellert Hill. The castle used to be the residence of Hungarian sovereigns for centuries, though intermittently. Today, it serves cultural and tourist purposes. The Széchenyi National Library, the Hungarian State Archives, and the Board of Monumental Buildings are all located here. The Castle Theatre and several museums, such as the Military History Museum, the Budapest Historical Museum, the Institute of Music, and the Hungarian National Gallery are also situated here together with a Museum of Commerce and Catering and even a Museum of Pharmacy. Entering the castle district through the Viennese Gate, first we catch sight of the Evangelical Church of Buda Castle. Then passing the colossal palace of the State Archives, we reach the ruins of Mary Magdalena Church. The garrison chapel, built 750 years ago, was destroyed during the Second World War and only its tower survived. There's a garden of ruins behind it. The Vérmező side of the 1.5-kilometer-long castle district is a pleasant promenade. The houses originate from various historical eras and represent different architectural styles, yet create an entirely harmonious impression. Thanks to the careful renovation of the monuments, several houses have partially or wholly regained their medieval look. From under the plasterwork of the Baroque or Classicist buildings, medieval fragments, window frames, or column capitals are showing. The characteristic feature of the houses here is the Gothic niche with seat. Opinions vary with regard to its purpose. Nevertheless, it is likely that guards used to use it as a resting point. The building of the Hilton Hotel embodies the ruins of the St. Nicholas Monastery and the Dominican Court. The Church of Our Lady in Buda Castle, commonly known as the Matthias or St. Matthew's Church, is one of the most outstanding monuments of Hungary. It was built in several stages from the 13th century in Gothic style. King Louis the Great and King Sigmund had the former three-aisled cathedral reconstructed into a one-aisle Gothic church with hall. King Matthias had it enlarged with the taller tower and the royal choir. The central figure of the main altar, designed in early Gothic style, is the statue of the sublime Our Lady. The glass paintings were made according to the sketches of Bertalanffy. The church was the site of several historical events. It was the place where King Charles Robert was crowned, and King Matthias had his two wedding ceremonies here. Since the reign of King Sigmund, it has been a tradition to place here the badges and flags captured in military missions. After capturing Buda, the Turkish reconstructed it into a Muslim church. From the middle of the 1800s, it regained its original significance. Franz Joseph and Charles IV were crowned here, and many other nationwide events also took place. The magnificent white marble statue of Sissi, the queen adored by the Hungarians, is also placed here. In the sarcophagus of the Holy Trinity Chapel next to the vestry, Bela III and his wife, Anne Chatillon, are buried. Several stone cuttings of the church, dating back to the era of Bela III, can be seen in the crypt. The red marble coffin hides the bones of the royal tombs of Székesfehérvár. A spiral staircase leads from the crypt to the royal choir, where the chasubles and relics used at coronations are exhibited together with a copy of the Holy Crown. And visitors can pick up some interesting tidbits of information at the exhibition. For example, substantiated research into the origins of the Hungarian crown has revealed that it was made by goldsmiths from Armenia. The bastions closing the square behind the Matthias Church on the east were built by Frigyes Szulek at the turn of the century. The impressive bastions of neo-Romanesque style, with lookout terraces and towers, were built on the site of the former red brick town walls. In the Middle Ages, there was a fish market in the square next to the church, and that part of the fort was guarded by the Guild of the Fishermen. The bastions built much later were named after them. The Fisherman's Bastion has become a significant element of the capital's look. Its characteristics are the archways resembling the courtyards of the Roman Age monasteries, the roofed and open staircases, and the peaked roofs without tiles covered with white stone. The main tower and the great stairs are ornamented with the sculptures of the Hungarian chieftains, while the pediment of the Jesuit gate is decorated with the walled-in relief of a Gothic stone lion. The statue of the Holy Trinity was erected by the citizens after the Great Plague of 1709. The building of the former Buda Town Hall is ornamented by the sculpture of Pallas Athena, the guardian of the city. The 95-meter-long funicular of Buda Castle was built between Clark Adams Square and the Sándor Palace as the second of its kind in Europe. The Castle Theatre is located on St. George Square. Passing the building, we can reach the fence and forged gate of the palace. Part of the gate is the giant sculpture of the turo bird, erected in memory of the millennium. The huge bird holding a sword in its talons is the work of Gyula Donát. The palace of Buda Castle stands on the southern part of Castle Hill. The royal residence and the forts protecting it were built under Bela IV after the Tartar disaster. The whole system of defense was constructed during the reign of King Sigmund. King Matthias created a truly Renaissance court. Almost all sovereigns had the palace reconstructed according to their taste and that of their era. The destruction of the building was started in Turkish times with the blowing up of the ammunition storage and was fulfilled by the siege of 1686. The palace of today was built during the reign of Maria Theresa, using the remains of the destroyed palace. It was totally renovated after 1945. Many ruins of medieval buildings were discovered then, and the excavations are still in progress. The permanent exhibition of the Royal Palace of Medieval Buda can be seen in the Budapest Historical Museum, where, among other things, sculptures and fragments found during the excavations are exhibited. The Great Hall, built in Gothic style with cross vaulting, was used as a night hall. The Royal Indoor Chapel has an intimate atmosphere. Part of the facade with counterfort from the Anjou Palace and a stone balcony can be seen in the royal cellar. We leave the museum through the southern palace court in the direction of the Great Rondella Bastion and the Club Tower. At the foot of the castle stands the Deer House, a restaurant originating from the 13th century and still open today. This magnificent building used to be the engine house of the castle water supplies. Today, it's a casino. The area lying between Gellert Hill and Castle Hill was called Taban. Unfortunately, it fell victim to city planning. Now we can see this district with its once pleasant atmosphere, resembling Grinzing in Vienna, only in photos or paintings. The statue of Bishop Gellért lifts his hands as if blessing the city. The popular Gellert Spa Hotel, bath, and swimming pool stands at the foot of Gellert Hill. The group of buildings constructed in secessionist style includes a luxury hotel of more than 300 beds, a spa bath, a roofed and an open-air swimming pool, and a lido. Its interiors are built in an artistic fashion with sculptures and mosaics. The radioactive lime hydrogen carbonated spa water is suitable for healing rheumatism and arthritis. Besides the thermal bath, there's a swimming pool with a roof that can be opened, a sparkling bath, and another swimming pool with artificial waves. Its terraces for sunbathers are surrounded by a park abundant in lush green, decorated with statues and a waterfall. Opposite Gellert Hotel, a special cave chapel is situated on the hillside. Some say that Pest might have been named after this cave, as the medieval name of Gellert Hill of Slavic origin was Pest Hill, and Pest means cave. Let's walk up to the citadel on the top of Gellert Hill and bid farewell to Budapest by glancing over the city once again from under the famous Statue of Liberty.